So basically we were looking at the wrong thing. It turns out it's this membrane of the cell where intelligence comes from. And the significance of that is the most primitive organisms on this planet are called bacteria. And they are the smallest little cells, and they have like a capsule. They look like little medicine capsules, a lot of them. And the problem with that is the membrane of a bacterium can only get so big because once it reaches the maximum inside this capsule, that's all you can have. So evolution started by creating the bacteria and then multiplying them and creating all different kinds of versions of bacteria, but they were all still limited by their inability to expand their membrane. So by definition, evolution stopped. It couldn't make a smarter bacterium. There was no way it could happen. But evolution saw another way, and the other way was called community. That bacteria started to live in community with each other and put a membrane around themselves. And so they had a closed world, and the bacteria exchanged jobs because there were different kinds of bacteria, and they all exchanged. They exchanged their DNA, and they lived in a community. So the community of bacteria, called a biofilm, is the precursor of the next level of evolution, which is called the amoeba. The amoeba is a community of bacteria living under a skin. Okay? Well, then the next level of evolution is what? Make more and more amoebas with variations on a theme. An amoeba has thousands of times more surface area membrane than a bacterium does. So an amoeba is thousands of times more intelligent in its ability. Then comes the interesting part. So the next level, and this is the first billion years was basically bacteria, and then the amoebas came in at the end, and then the next billion years or so, billion and a half years, was variations on all the amoebas, which are what? Communities of bacteria with a membrane around them. Well, what happened was this. The amoeba got to a size where it can't get any bigger. Simple reason. It's like a balloon. Once you put water in the balloon, a little bit of water, we can throw the balloon all around the room. But if you put too much water in a balloon, try to throw it, the membrane rips. Well, the membrane rips, the cell dies. What's the point? Even amoebas reached a maximum size where they couldn't create any more membrane and still be viable. Evolution stopped for the second time. And then what happened was the next level of evolution was amoebas got together and formed a community and put a skin around them. And so we, by definition, are a community of 50 trillion amoebas underneath our skin. And they make the society, because the amoebas are the living element. We, by definition, are a community. I'm a community. I'm not an individual. I got 50 trillion citizens living inside. And the relevance about this is very important. There's no new function in the human that's not already present in the amoeba. Amoebas have a respiratory, digestive, excretory, nervous system, neuroendocrine system, reproductive system. Amoebas have an immune system. Okay? Relevance is this. A human is the highest level of that community of amoebas and reached its maximum ability for its brain. And all the surface area of the brain with all the folds and gyri and so forth, that's increasing the surface area, but it maximized. The human represents another endpoint. And then what happens at an endpoint is the individuals come together in a community and form the next higher organization. The evolution that we are facing right now is the evolution of the next higher level of organization, where every human is a cell in the body of a superorganism that's forming, and that superorganism is called humanity. So we are coming together to create a new structure. The falling apart of the existing structure is a necessary requirement before the new structure can be built. We can't build it on the faulty foundation that Greg mentioned, and both of us have it in our books. It's a faulty foundation. You can't survive with this way we've been living. So the falling apart of society is a necessary step in the evolution. Rather than to be feared, it should be welcomed, is because if we don't do it, the inevitable end is coming, because science has already told us we're going extinct. And that's because of the way we live with each other and the way we live with the planet has been destructive of the system. So we're on the edge of a system falling apart and a new system beginning. Well, this is where you come in very critically into this, because it's the formation of a community. Out of what and from who? Where's it coming from? We've got 7 billion people. And so to give the analogy, which you've heard, but now it really makes sense if you understand it, a cell is a miniature human, as I said. It has all the functions. So I say, go inside the body of a caterpillar and it's got, let's say, 7 billion cells in there, and they're all working together. Some of them they have different jobs. It's really important. Some do muscle work, some do digestion work, some do blood system work. They have jobs. They all work together in a community. And as the caterpillar is growing, the environment and the economy is booming. You know, it's growing, everybody's happy, everybody's working, everything's cool, and then it reaches a plateau where the caterpillar can't grow anymore. And that is a problem, a finite problem, because all these cells that were doing jobs like moving the caterpillar around or digesting the food, well, we're not moving, we're not even taking in any food. What does it mean? The system starts falling apart. Many of the cells actually commit suicide, which in biology is called apoptosis. And there's a complete dissolution of the structure. But what's most important about that is in the midst of this dissolution, there are specialized stem cells called imaginal cells. And imaginal cells carry a vision of a different world. They're genetically identical to all the other cells, but they carry a different vision of a world. What they do is they get in among all the cells that are falling apart and help them organize into the next higher structure, which is the butterfly. So the relevance of you being in this room, number one, you are the cultural creatives that represent the imaginal cells. It's your influence in the world that can help shape the new structure of the community that must evolve. If we don't form this, then it's a choice. We may not make it. We've been here before, and we didn't make it, but this is an opportunity. If we don't change, then science's prediction of extinction is actually real and looming. And yet there is this great chance, because the internet, which represents the development of the nervous system of humanity. It connects 7 billion cells into one living organism.